Welcome everyone, a warm welcome to all our viewers today, and a special welcome to Mr. Rathor. Let's dive into today's exciting content together.
Thank you to Allah for guiding us, and a special thanks to our co-host Hafsa for joining us in today's discussion.
Mr. Rathor, my first question is, was the Partition of India in 1947 really an unavoidable outcome of religious differences? Or was it the result of political decisions made behind closed doors that reshaped an entire civilization?
That question sits at the center of one of the most intensely studied and emotionally charged events in modern history. Most historians agree that partition was not a single decision, but a chain of political failures, negotiations, and strategic calculations made under extreme pressure.
Before we get into 1947, what was the political situation in British India leading up to partition?
To understand partition, we need to go back to British colonial rule in India, which formally began after 1857 when the British Crown took direct control from the East India Company. By the early 20th century, British India was not a single political community, but a deeply complex society of religions, languages, and regions. Two major political forces emerged. The Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, which initially represented a broad nationalist movement, but later became associated with a vision of a unified independent India. The All India Muslim League, founded in 1906, which increasingly argued that Muslims were a distinct political community whose interests might not be protected in a Hindu-majority democratic system. Key figures shaped this era: Mahatma Gandhi advocating mass civil resistance, Jawaharlal Nehru promoting secular nationalism, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah evolving from a Congress nationalist to the leader of the Muslim League. British colonial administrators attempting to manage a declining empire. The turning point came after World War II, when Britain was economically exhausted and politically unable to maintain control.
So what actually led directly to partition in 1947?
The final years were defined by rapid political breakdown. In 1946, the Cabinet Mission Plan attempted to keep India united under a loose federal system. It failed due to disagreements between Congress and the Muslim League. Violence escalated dramatically. Direct Action Day in August 1946 in Calcutta led to massive communal riots. Violence spread to Bihar, Noakhali, and Punjab. British officials, especially Viceroy Lord Mountbatten, concluded that a quick transfer of power was necessary to avoid civil war. Key decisions. June 1947, Mountbatten announced the partition plan. Punjab and Bengal were divided. Radcliffe Boundary Commission was tasked with drawing borders in just weeks. August 14 to 15, 1947, India and Pakistan became independent states. The speed of the decision is crucial. Historians often highlight that the boundary-making process was rushed, poorly resourced, and politically constrained.
Do different countries interpret partition differently?
Yes, significantly. British perspective. British archives often frame partition as an inevitable withdrawal from a colony no longer governable. Some historians argue Britain prioritized a fast exit over careful transition planning. Indian perspective. Many Indian historians view partition as a tragic consequence of colonial divide and rule policies and political failures of communal negotiation. Pakistani perspective. Pakistan's founding narrative often emphasizes that partition was necessary to protect Muslims as a political minority in a unified India. Western academic view. Modern historians, including those in UK and US universities, generally see partition as a combination of colonial administrative pressure, elite political bargaining, breakdown of intercommunal trust. Historians like Yasmin Khan and Aisha Jalal emphasize that partition was not predetermined, but politically constructed in its final years.
What are the biggest controversies about partition?
There are several major debates. 1. Was partition inevitable? Some argue religious tensions made separation unavoidable. Others argue that constitutional compromise was still possible in 1946. 2. Role of the British government. Critics argue Britain rushed its withdrawal to protect its strategic interests. Others say Britain lacked the capacity to control escalating conflict. 3. Role of Jinnah and Congress. Debate continues over whether demands hardened too late to be reconciled. 4. Communal violence. Some historians see it as a spontaneous breakdown. Others argue that political groups and local leaders sometimes mobilized violence. Verified fact versus disputed claim. Verified fact. Large-scale communal violence occurred in 1946-47 across multiple regions. Disputed claim that partition was planned from the beginning of British rule. Most historians reject this.
What does the historical evidence actually tell us?
We rely on several categories of evidence. 1. British government records. Cabinet documents show increasing urgency to exit India after World War II due to economic strain. 2. Mountbatten papers indicate the decision to advance the transfer date from 1948 to 1947, compressing planning timelines. 3. Radcliffe Commission files show how limited time and political pressure affected boundary decisions. 4. Academic research. Historians like Ian Talbot, Judith Brown, and Sugata Bose highlight that partition resulted from collapsed negotiations rather than a long-term master plan. 5. Oral histories. Survivor accounts reveal the scale of displacement and violence, estimated at 10 to 15 million displaced people, and up to 1 million deaths. Consensus. Most historians agree partition was politically driven, poorly managed, accelerated by administrative urgency, not pre-planned as a fixed outcome from the start of British rule.
What changed after partition?
The consequences were profound and lasting. Political. Creation of India and Pakistan as separate states. Later emergence of Bangladesh in 1971. Military. Immediate conflict over Kashmir began in 1947 to 48. Long-term India-Pakistan rivalry. Economic. Massive disruption of trade networks. Refugee resettlement crises in both countries. Cultural. Deep psychological trauma across generations. Migration reshaped urban demographics. Modern relevance. Partition continues to influence South Asian geopolitics, national identities, border security policies.
Final segment. After everything we've discussed, what should people remember about this story?
Partition was not simply a line drawn on a map. It was the result of collapsing negotiations, political mistrust, colonial withdrawal, and rapidly escalating violence. Understanding it requires moving beyond simple explanations and recognizing the complexity of decisions made under extreme historical pressure.
Thank you all for your support. A special thanks to Mr. Rathor for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment on our channel. Your engagement means a lot to us.
A new dawn broke over the subcontinent, etching the borders of India and Pakistan into history.